Yo, Mana Squad, if you like any of the cards you see in today's video, make sure to hit up the affiliate link down below to TCG Player. You can help look up some of your local game stores in the process and help show the channel some love. And you know you got to look good while you play in order to play good. So make sure you hit up our link to Into the AM as well. We have the discount code down in the description below. Look, you got to listen to Kenneth the Heathen, and he always says something about dripping in space and screaming. We don't know what it means, but do what the man says. And last but not least, hit up Heavy Play. Heavy Play is going to have some of the nicest playmats and deck boxes out there. Their magnet system between their deck box and dice trays and playmat is amazing, especially if you're playing at like bars, restaurants, stuff like that. You got to get up and move. There is no better way to keep all your stuff together, and you can show the channel some love in the process. Stay petty.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Command Center, where we like to put our favorite commander, maybe even yours, front and center. And you know we can't do it without those three creepy letters. EDH. What do they stand for today, Hadoken?
It stands for Embracing Duskmourn Horrors. That's right. A new set is on the horizon, and it is time to get freaky with it, or sneaky with it, or Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. Anyway, today the set has come out. By the time this show comes out, this set will have come out and things will have gone bump in the night. You know what that means? We bump back. But before we go down that dusty trail, I don't even know what we're talking about today. What are we talking about?
Today we want to talk about everything Duskmourn. We want to talk about the commander decks. We're going to go over kind of the face, backup commanders, some of our favorite cards from those decks, and then kind of the second half of the video transition to each of our top fives of our favorite cards for commander in this set. There's no criteria. There's no like real anything other than what cards are we most excited or expecting to see played the most in Commander.
That's right.
In this set. So this, yeah.
That's right. We're gonna talk about everything from dustpans to dusty people to from dusk till dawn. That stuff you stir stuff in the pot. Yeah, we talking about all that type of dust. That's what we getting with. Some of y'all houses
I think
dusty.
they got to bring back 2 block sets, so they have Duskmourn and then Duskmourn, and Duskmourn's just a really dusty mansion, and it's just like a disgusting, completely unclean place, and the real horror is having to spend the night in a mansion that has not been cleaned.
Honestly,
allergy nightmare.
Honestly, I thought this was honestly when they did pre-release this, the name of it, I thought it was a Bloodborne ripoff. I was like, yeah, Derek gonna love this.
I'm already excited for this. I would be even more. Yeah, Bloodborne set, do it. Get on it. All right, so I guess we'll just go deck by deck. I'll start with reading kind of the face and the backup commanders for each of these decks. And then we can kind of take it from there. If you want to look up for me as I have these cards pulled up, the actual names of the commander decks, because I realize I have all the cards pulled up. I don't actually have the names of the decks. So
I got the names.
Oh, perfect. So we're going to start with the Simic, whatever it's called in the Duskmourn world, the Simic precon with Zimone at the head of it. And what is their fancy catchphrase for this one?
It's coming right. It's coming right for us.
I don't think that it could be. I don't have any frame of reference for that. So
I'm the one clearly looking at the deck name.
If you believe Ken's,
so it's coming right for us.
If you believe Ken's deck names, that's on you. That's all I gotta say.
I did not even close. It has nothing to do. Yeah, no.
You accepted his help like very movie, very horror movie like. So good on you, Derek.
that was my mistake. I should have never asked. So mystery Simic deck name. Insert Simic deck name here. Something about like
it's called Jumpscare.
Lands and jams, jump scares and value. 30-minute turns.
It's called It's called Voodoo Boo. That's what it's called. Look, I'll be 1,000% honest. Until you told me this afternoon, I didn't even know they were commander decks. So we gonna do it this way.
That's how you know we were prepared and ready to go. All right, so Simic commander deck, 30-minute turns. Boo. That's what I'm naming it. Is headed by Zimone, a mystery unraveler. So Zimone is 2, a green and a blue. For a legendary creature, human wizard, a 3/3, and it has landfall, because of course Simic has landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, manifest dread if this is the first time this ability has resolved this turn. Otherwise, you may turn a permanent you control face up. So manifesting dread is looking at the top 2. One goes face down, one goes to the graveyard. bam, and this allows you to manifest Dread on landfall, and then with the next land, flip something. So it's essentially a way to cheat creatures into play, because if you play and crack a fetch land in the same turn, you manifest Dread, throw out a giant scary thing, flip it, bam, Duskomourn is bringing big scary friends to the table. Now, I do want to just kind of read the backup commander, and then we'll circle back to kind of break down each one. So the backup commander for this 30-minute turns boo deck is going to be Cayenne. I'm going to call it Cayenne, a Corrupted Memory, which is 2 green and a blue for a 2/2 illusion. As long as Cayenne's power is even, you may cast non-creature spells as though they had flash. As long as Cayenne's power is odd, you may cast creature spells as though they had flash. Whenever you would draw a card, put a +1/+1 counter on Cayenne. So this is a weird flash deck that cares about both creatures and non-creatures and manipulating power. This one actually seems kind of interesting. But let's start with Duskomourn. So what are y'all's thoughts on Duskomourn? Positive, negative? Is it doing something different for Simic? Is it just more of the same?
I mean, it looks like more fodder for Animar, I guess. Wait, what is Animar? Yeah, this is just slotted into the 99 of an Animar deck, honestly. But I'm not a big fan of Manifest, and it can manifest the foot in they behind. But yeah, this ain't really my jam. I love the art though. I mean, it looks like Harry Potter got some comp. That's all I'm saying.
It's very like Ghostbuster. I love the little like ray gun on the hip. I do appreciate their dedication to the Ghostbusters vibes, which I guess why the secret layers make so much sense. Speaking of secret layers, we got to talk about Chucky, but that's gonna come later. Sid, how are you feeling about Duskomourn?
I actually kind of like her, only in a sense in this that Manifest Dread. That's where we're putting things face down, right? As you quoted Christopher
Yeah, you
Bridges.
look at the top two. One goes face down. One goes to the graveyard. Exactly. The Christopher Bridges.
I kind of like that. I kind of like that because since we're playing blue, green has little tricks here and there, but put some big nasty things face down and then flip them up later with blink spells that you can get in blue. So it's I like to be sneaky. I'm a little bit the jank player, so this appeals to me a little bit. And it's just the fact that you can turn things face up just by having lands enter the battlefield. So that's scary.
And it's also cool that she doesn't specify, like, it doesn't have to be something that she put on the battlefield. So you could do a whole deck around cards being face down and her using the ability to flip them face up. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like the shenanigans that you can pull in this, but that's just me personally. Yeah, so I didn't really see how Cayenne, she is one of the deans at Strixhaven, so I don't know why she's appearing. This card definitely is very Simic flavor, but we've never really seen anything like this in Simic. However, we have definitely seen things like this in red with cards like Ashling's Prerogative. As an enchantment comes into play, you choose odd or even. Creatures with converted mana cost. Each creature with the converted mana cost of the chosen value has haste. Each creature without the converted mana cost comes into play tapped. So red has been doing this kind of odd even thing for not a lot, but they have a couple of things out there, especially with Chaos Moon. Does the same thing kind of. Things that are red in your mountains get an extra buff depending on the count there. I think if it's odd, but if it's even, then your creature get -1 and your red mana don't produce red mana, or your mountains don't produce red mana. So the odd and even thing was kind of the red thing for a minute. So I see you kind of creeping into their territory, Simic. I see you creeping. I blame the green. Green is the mold color.
So
always
one thing
creeping on things.
It's what it does. One of the things that's interesting to me is the way I view it, because you mentioned it's like a teacher, but it's an illusion. I think this is like the representation. I feel like everybody has this, and if it's just me, I feel like I've heard other people talk about that nightmare that you have like forever, where you wake up or you in the dream, you think that you forgot you signed up for a class or multiple classes, and you have like an exam, and all of a sudden you're like, yo, I never signed up for this. And you have this moment of panic, and you realize you like missed all your classes, and you don't know what's happening, and then it keeps happening. It's a really recurrent nightmare I've heard of a lot of people. So I think this is like the card representation of that. Like Duskomourn's off on her own at a school at Strixhaven, doing her thing in a haunted house, and then the manifestation of like this scary teacher's like, you forgot a class, I have +1 counters, is running around. One thing I will say is I do like Duskomourn better of the two. The funniest thing is those first two lines of text on Cayenne whatever it was, feels just like the distraction from the fact that this is like, hey, I'm every Simic deck. Because the key words on this for me are whenever you draw a card, put a +1 counter on Kian. So this deck is literally just going to be Simic value engine of draw a bunch of cards, put a bunch of +1 counters, cast a rich cards expertise, draw a bunch more cards, put a bunch more +1 counters, and then just have a never-ending turn. It is the vibes I'm getting from this. Because drawing a card, putting a +1 counter, especially in Simic, that is going to get deadly so fast. And I feel like this is going to be a deck that basically those first two lines are just there as like, that's the part that should make it exciting, but to me those are the two that are just there like, oh cool, it just so happens I can cast something at flash, or I could do like a brainstorm thing and like make it so I can choose but for the most part it feels like it's going to be almost like a Prime Speaker Zagana style, like Simic big +1 counter, I'm about to take a 45-minute turn, and that fits the made up name that I made. 30-minute turn, boo. Okay, Ken, sorry, I'll throw it to you.
First of all, I like cayenne. That's one of my favorite seasoning. It always brings all the heat to the food. Number two, this is clearly a community college professor. You know why? Because the teacher ain't real. That's right. I said it. Come for me if you want to. Number three. Number three.
We didn't mean it. We love you, Prof. we love you, Prof.
We love our adjunct. We love our adjunct professors.
Number three. This is like I said, you can have some fun with this. It's flash with extra steps, so you got to draw and say, okay, I'm gonna play a brainstorm and put 3 extra counters on there, so now I can cast my flash and my creature spell and do all my shenanigans. I like it. It can get in there. I like the art better because it looks like Karama, has some fun back there. But outside of that, I can smell what it's stepping in.
Okay, so that's kind of the deck is obviously going to be doing stuff with lands with +1 counters. Simic things does what Simic does. But there are a handful of new cards. We're not going to go through all of them, just because this is more of just kind of a quick overview of how we feel about the Commander decks. But we did want to highlight kind of our favorite new cards in the set. So there's only, I think there's a handful, maybe like 10-ish tops of new cards. So we kind of each pick one of our favorites. Did you have yours ready, or do you want me to kick it off?
I have mine ready. I'm pretty sure this is just within the Commander deck.
Perfect. So
so I'm just verifying, but I'm pretty sure that this one is a Commander deck exclusive. But the Giggling Skitter Skite. Giggling Skitter Skite.
Yes, it's the thing from Toy Story.
Yeah.
That sounds like something.
Little dude from Toy Story.
That sounds like something people on crack do.
So this thing, whenever it attacks, blocks, or becomes the target of a spell, you deal damage equal to its power to each opponent, and you can put 5 counters on it with the Monstrosity 5. 4-drop artifact creature, so it slots into most decks, especially if you're playing red. So easily just buff this thing up with either equipment or enchantments, and then you don't even have to attack with it. Like, just throw damage at it, or throw spells at it. Not even damage at it. Just becomes the target of a spell. Like, just here, let me give you haste. Oh, oops, let me throw damage at everybody too. So yeah, I'm loving this. I'm loving this.
All right, so I'm gonna talk. Kevin, are you ready? Or you want me to take it from here?
It's up to you. I got mine, but it's up to you.
All right, so I'm gonna steal it just in case you wanted this one. I'm gonna pick Disorienting Choice. It's what I like a lot. So it's 3 and a green. It says for each opponent, it's a sorcery. For each opponent, choose up to 1 target artifact or enchantment that player controls. For each permanent chosen this way, its controller may exile it. Then, if 1 or more of the chosen permanents are still on the battlefield, you search your library for up to that many land cards, put them onto the battlefield, tap, and then shuffle. So this is like a play on Temp with Discovery, but so much better in my mind. So essentially, for each opponent on the battlefield, you get to choose an artifact or enchantment basically to get rid of. It either gets rid of it or you get any land you want into play. So your worst case, best case, depending on what you want, is you either get 3 of any land, which is like the best Temp with Discovery ever, or you just exile the 3 most dangerous artifacts and enchantments for 4 mana, and most times you're going to get some weird combination of the two, where you get rid of this, whether it's a Smothering Tithe, Rhystic Study, whether a-hole stuff people are playing. And oh, by the way, I just happened to also get a Field of the Dead just because. It seems really good. I feel like a lot of these times, these choice cards, I don't necessarily love because I don't like to let my opponents pick for me. I want to choose. But for this one, it's a win-win. Like, there's always at least one artifact or enchantment on everybody's side of the board to get rid of. And it's exile, so one rings, all that type of stuff, I can get rid of it. This just seems, this one seems really strong. I could see seeing this one a lot. All right, Ken, I'm going to throw it to you.
Yeah, I call it forced with discovery because now y'all don't have a choice. All right, mine coming to the plate is Shriekwood Devourer. One, I like it because it's a penis joke. And number two, because whenever you attack with one or more creatures, untap up to X lands where X is the greatest power among those creatures. First of all, this is going in Zakama. I'm not even playing games anymore. All right, because you know what this is? Sword and Feast and Famine on a stick. It is on a stick. That's right. I don't care if you discard it.
That's a 7 man. That's a big ass stick.
A big ass stick. That I don't care if you discard a card. I'm untapping lands and I'm doing some damage to your face. Get some south in your mouth. Anyway, I saw this card and I was like, "Yep, slide it in, slide it in." You know what? A tree folk is a dinosaur if you squint hard enough.
On that note, that is gonna do it for our mini. We won't be talking about the arch enemy cards here. That's a whole separate thing. I love Arch Enemy. I think it's cool. I think it's just a cool kind of take on the game, but we're not going to dive too much into those.
Oh, wait.
Focus on the regular.
Wait, hold on there. I got to drop this bar right quick because I just saw the flavor text on this card. With every soul it consumes, its roots stretch further and reaches for more victims. Good Lord. That is a bar.
It's going in the Undertaker.
Yeah, the flavor text in this
going in the Undertaker deck.
It's pretty good.
That got some umami on it.
All right, so next we're gonna move into the Esper deck. So the Esper precon, again, you might have the actual name pulled up. I'm gonna name this one "Who Invited a Spooky Little Girl to a Mansion? You're Dumb as Hell." That is the name of this deck. Everyone knows spooky children are the most terrifying things to see in a mansion, and someone invited the spookiest of little girls, Amanatu, to join. So I don't know what y'all were thinking, but whatever. So the face commander of Who Invited the Spooky Girl, You're Dumb as Hell, is Amanatu Veil Piercer. What's up?
Wait, hold on. I got to put my alternate name in there. These Girl Scout cookies taste funny. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, don't buy Girl Scout cookies for Amanatu. I'm assuming there's probably like animal carcass pieces or something. Those are the vibes I get. So Amanatu Veil Piercer is 1 white, blue, black for a 2/4 human wizard. Beginning of your upkeep, you surveil 2. Each enchantment card in your hand has Miracle. Its Miracle cost is equal to its mana cost reduced by 4. So this is miracles, surveilling, big stompy enchantments, and a whole lot of stuff. So we're going to circle back to Amanatu. And then the backup commander for this deck is going to be the Master of Keys. The Master of Keys is X, white, blue, black for a 3/3 horror. As flying, when the Master of Keys enters, put X +1/+1 counters on it and mill twice X cards. So a massive mill outlet, and you get to put a bunch of +1 counters. It's like a Hydra-ish thing. Each enchantment card in your graveyard has Escape. The escape cost is equal to the card's mana cost plus exile 3 other cards from your graveyard. So this is all about either casting massive enchantments with Amanatu and trying to get miracles off of it, or milling a whole bunch of cards and getting to cast a whole bunch of cards out of your graveyard with the Master of Keys. These are both in very different directions, but obviously consistent on that enchantment theme. We'll kind of go in that same order set. Is there one of these two that excites you more? Kind of which one kind of gets you most wanting to build?
All right, first of all, I gotta stand up for my daughter here. First of all, she wasn't invited to the mansion. She actually played a pivotal role before the story got started. Really, she gave them all something that was actually very relevant to her like actual character and previous card. Like basically she gave them a reset player like ability. So like if something happened to them, they can basically just blink and come back like nothing happened. But they only got one of these, and actually a couple of the main characters died, like literally caught it in the story, and they like, oh dang, glad I had that fate reshaper thing that creepy little girl gave us before we started this journey. So justice for Amanatu. Second, I'm kind of a little torn on. I like both of these commanders, but I'm probably going to play Amanatu first because I feel like that second one requires a little bit more thinking, and I'm not quite there just yet in my life. I'll probably circle back to it.
I get you there. Ken, what about you?
First of all, I think Master of Keys is just a janitor or Master of the Custodial Arts, however you want to spit it. So they lost me on that one. And then I'm for all them hands, I'm gonna need him not to be so ashy. So I'm gonna leave that alone. Going to Amanatu. First of all, we all missing the fact that she got Moses' stick just walking through a ghost house. So I'm gonna just leave that alone. Like Will Smith said, what's this little girl doing in this neighborhood at that time of night? She might be up to some shit. I'm just saying. So I'm gonna need you to get off my back about that. Another thing I gotta say is, first of all, I think we sleeping on this ability. All the cards that you got have miracle. Let me put this. Your enchantments. Let me put this on the table. Smothering Tide for 1 white. Ristic Study for 1 blue. Shall I keep going? Mind's Dilation for 3. Shall I keep going? Parallel Lives. Yeah, you can sneak green in here. No, not Anointed Procession for 1. Shall I keep going? Shall we keep doing this? We're not gonna forget about the enchantment gods that we can throw in here too. This can get real nasty real quick.
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of jump off of that in the sense of one thing I appreciate about the deck is it is Enchantress with no green, and I love that because I've never been interested in building an Enchantress deck for that reason, in that they all kind of build themselves and they're all kind of the same. You just play all the Enchantresses out. It's usually some combo of green and white, and you play as many low mana enchantments as you can. Suffocate the board, take a 75-minute turn, and draw a million cards and don't know how to win. That's usually how enchantment decks go. But the Master of Keys kind of just lets you do more of that, in that you're just milling, getting a bunch of enchantments in your graveyard, and ideally you're still playing efficient things out of your graveyard to get multiple uses and value, and it's still just meh. I love that Amanatu it's encouraging you to play those giant, like you mentioned Mind's Dilation. That's a great example. Just a massive high mana value enchantment that we really don't see. I can't tell you the last time I saw somebody cast a Mind's Dilation in a game of Commander. It's too expensive. It's too much mana. Everybody wants efficient stuff. This deck is going to encourage you to find those 7, 8, 9 mana enchantments and find a home for them, and that I really like. I think it's going to be, instead of having 75 enchantments on board and taking a 2-hour turn, getting those like crazy, like Grave Betrayal. I don't even remember how many mana that is, but the thing with the giant skeleton dragon, and when things die, they come back as zombies. Like enchantments that no one even plays anymore just because you can't cast them in time. This will give you a way to do it. So despite the initial shit talking of Spooky Girl in a house, I think this deck is going to be super fun. It does a little bit of the thing that annoys me, where it's both enabler and engine, because you get to surveil and it gives you miracle. I feel like it just needed the miracle clause. It didn't need the extra text, but it doesn't matter. I think this is going to be a really fun card and lead to some powerful decks. So next we'll do the same thing we did last time. I want to do kind of a quick take on everybody's favorite card of the new cards for this deck. Obviously, these are going to be a lot of enchantment focused things and that. Yeah.
Sorry, quick second. Before we leave off of this deck, I just want to put, anytime I see somebody with a bunch of keys, I think they're weird. Unless you're about to open the door for Neo, you don't need that many keys. I just envision your room full of empty pizza boxes and Cheeto stains, and for some reason, you know how people flip their underwear inside out? Then they reflip them and wear them again. Sorry, keep going.
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
We have like a hygiene take every video, it seems like. This is not something I've been aware of.
It's some gross ass people out there. So like, yeah, I used to know cats. I didn't know them personally. I just saw them walking around. Like they would take their underwear and flip them inside out and wear them. And then these gross bastards would go even further, and then they would turn the boxers around and then wear them like that. So like the opening is at their butt cheeks.
That's one of the most disturbing things I've ever heard.
All right, that's nasty. So the first card I want to talk about from this deck that got me a little bit excited. Actually, it might be a room card real quick. I'll just explain it real quick. But Access Maze for 5 and 2 black. Once during each of your turns, you may cast a spell from your hand by paying life equal to its mana value rather than paying its mana cost. So we already have a few cards that do that already, specifically for enchantments or creatures, or really just the next spell you cast this turn. So this is another one in the same vein that can use life as a resource to cast spells. So hey, get it out here for 3 mana because it costs 7 initially, but if you're able to miracle it, get it out there for 3, and then just start paying life to cast spells. Love it.
Yeah, that seems dirty. I also appreciate that it's a 7-mana enchantment, and it's not like, I think that's one of the things that makes, like, if you put that effect on too cheap of a creature, like Crick is an example, I think it's like 5 or 6. I think 7 should be the minimum for something like this, because if you do that on too low of a mana value, it just turns into being obnoxious. All right, so the card that I enjoy, and it's kind of because of the art, but it's also a cool effect, is going to be Ancient Cellar Spawn. It is 1 black. Each spell you cast that's a demon, horror, or nightmare costs 1 less. And whenever you cast a spell, if the amount of mana spent to cast it was less than its mana value, target opponent loses life equal to the difference. The reason I love this is literally just a win con in Villainous Wealth. Because if you cast Villainous Wealth for 10 and you cast 7 spells off of somebody, every one of those spells was cast for free. And whatever that total mana value is, you're literally just throwing at someone's face. So this turns Ancient Cellar Spawn essentially turns Villainous Wealth into like a Vile Smasher on steroids. So immediately I have to love it. I just feel like I'm obligated to, and it has some of the most like messed up art possible. I don't know what's happening there. Actually, there's a lot of things. It has a lot of antlers and things branching off of its head, but it is beautiful and awesome. And if that Villainous Wealth ever gets put back together, Ancient Cellar Spawn will be one of the key cards in it. All right, Ken, what do you got?
My card is Fear of Sleep Paralysis. 1, because that is real. That is a real fear. True story. They used to say sleep paralysis used to be called to be rolled by the hag, in which anybody who had it, it was always a figure standing over you. So that's what it meant. But anyway, this card is busted because when it comes into play, it puts stun counters on, and you cannot remove stun counters. They stay. So stuff stays permanently tapped.
This is 100% going in Muldrotha, because I just know Muldrotha is the deck of, I don't want to see my friend smile ever again or enjoy anything. No joy in life. And then you kick us in the nuts.
I would not put this in Muldrotha by itself. You didn't let me finish. By itself. I gotta find ways to put stun counters on lands.
We're gonna move on before he gets any more ideas. Let's move on to the third of the commander decks. This is the Rakdos deck. This is Demons are in Rakdos. We really don't know where else to put them. Can someone else think of a home for them? That is the name of the Rakdos deck. It is helmed by Valgavoth, Harrower of Souls. 2 black and a red for a 4/4 Elder Demon. So not just a demon, the Elder Demon. Has flying, ward, pay 2 life. Whenever an opponent loses life for the first time during each of their turns, put a +1/+1 counter on Valgavoth and draw a card. A lot to get to there. The second backup commander for this one is going to be the Lord of Pain. The Lord of Pain is 3 black and a red for a 5/5 human assassin. Menace, your opponents can't gain life. Whenever a player casts their first spell each turn, choose another target player. The Lord of Pain deals damage equal to that spell's mana value to the chosen player. A targeted Vile Smasher, where the player whose turn it is has control of what happens a little bit here. So that has a lot going on. Both of these seem very fun, but we'll see kind of said. Do you have one of the two that kind of gets your brewing mind going the most?
Oh yeah, it's definitely Valgavoth. I don't know, really both. Ooh, I like Group Slug. I like both of them.
Because that Lord of Pain has that real, like, do you want to play a game vibe? Because someone could just pass.
Yeah.
Because you have to choose another target player. That's the crazy part. So, like, if your opponent casts a 10 mana value spell, you can't hit them with the damage. It has to hit. So all of a sudden, you're in. Yeah, that's a very much like a Jigsaw vibe there. So I didn't mean to cut you off.
Well, yeah, because, I mean, whenever a player casts their first spell, okay, but as long as I'm not the target, I'm cool with that. Lord of Pain deals damage equal to that spell. Wait, you can be targeted too.
Because you're always choosing. You always choose who gets hit. So no matter who casts the spell, you choose the target. Okay. But it just can't be the player that casts the spell.
Gotcha. So when it gets down to 1v1, what happens then? It's just whatever spell I cast, the first spell I cast.
Oh. Yo,
when it gets down to 1v1,
I think if it's 1v1,
it becomes
yeah, if they cast something, you get hit. That's messed up. I didn't think about it. Whenever a player casts their first spell each turn, so your opponent casts a spell, choose another target player, you got to get hit.
Ooh,
you can lose your own game.
Okay, I've made my decision. It's that one. It's that one. It's definitely that one.
Yeah.
I want to play a game so bad.
Oh my gosh, that is so cool.
Oh yeah, hit me.
You can lose your game.
No, I'm not losing. I've been waiting for a spell to hit me directly. Oh, I got cards for this. Oh yeah. Okay. Cool. We can do this. You guys just don't know.
I can't get over the fact that he kind of looks like the mouth of Sauron from Lord of the Rings, the dude with the real messed up teeth.
He can look like the mouth of Hellraiser. I don't care. I'm gonna play it. Ken, which
Ken, who do you got?
First of all, the name of this deck is the burn means it's working. Number 2, triple fiery emancipation, triple damage spells, and infect. But we already know that route. But I'm not gonna go with the obvious because Lord of Pain is clearly amazing. I'm going with Valgroth, the shit demon. And basically, the reason why I'm going with this is because there are so many. If we read it, it says whenever an opponent loses life for the first time during each of their turns. Oh, I didn't read that part.
Yeah, so it only activates one time on a player's turn during their turn.
Oh, never mind. This card can SMD.
No. It's not a bad card. It's still some crazy things you can do with Valgavoth, especially with Pestilence.
It can SMD.
Pestilence every turn. It comes back to you.
SMD.
You literally Pestilence, draw 3 cards, deal what, 9 damage?
That's fine.
Well, no. So it's the way it'll work is because it says whenever an opponent loses life for the first time during each of their turns, you'd have to do it on each person's turn. So if you pass to an opponent, only the damage they take triggers it, and then on the next opponent's turn. So you would need to leave mana up or have like pingers and stuff like that. I do appreciate that it's not just. It's like a fixed version of what was the demon dude? I think it was a demon that Joe beat our ass with for like 3 straight days in LA.
It was the
Volja?
No, the demon. It was the dude from the dude in the pimp suit from
the 3-mana demon.
Yeah,
demon.
From New Capuana.
Oh no, you talking about Xanther, the vampire ghost?
No, he's talking about Obnixilis, I think.
Yeah.
Yes,
Obnixilis.
Obnixilis.
I don't understand how that Obnixilis works, so I don't play it.
No, I because it combos with all would be one, and all he would do is put a counter on there, and it combo off. Asshole.
Yeah, I was like, he was just like 3 straight days. I PTSD. I'm with you. Said I don't even know what the card does. I just remember pingers and dying.
I avoided those games
so many times. Yeah. So this feels like a fixed quote unquote version because it is specific to each player's turn.
Gotcha. Yeah, but
so I get.
But
so
that's still drawing a card every player's turn. Like that's and he's getting bigger and he flies. It's a lot to like there. I just put like that.
Yeah. So I'm on the fence because typically anytime a commander says draw a card on it, I don't like it. It makes it less fun to build because it just takes care of your card advantage unless there's enough extra steps. So I think an example of I love playing Frodo and Sam, the Hobbits. So Frodo has draw a card on there, but you need to do things in order to make that happen. It's not just you play it, woo, I draw a card. You need to be tempted by the ring, get in for damage, do things to get that engine going. Until I see Valgavoth in action, I can't tell if this is I'm drawing 3 cards every round of the table easy and it's just an obnoxious value deck, or the setup is going to make it feel like I'm actually earning it. So I'm 50-50 on Valgavoth right now, but I know the Lord of Pain is going to be a lot of fun. I too said I'm with you. I do want to play a game. That just seems like it's such a good time. The one thing with Vial Smasher, I love Vial Smasher, and Indoraptor similar with throwing like damage and stuff. Love those decks, but not being able to control where it goes definitely makes you a huge target a lot of the time, because you have no ability to be like, I'll throw damage here, I'll do this. You can't bargain. It's just gonna the dice are where the dice are, and that means they're just gonna hit set every time. But with the Lord of Pain, now I can choose to hit set every time and not pretend like it's the dice. No, it's like I love the dynamic it brings. So I guess we're kind of a clean sweep on this. I do think Valgavoth is very cool as well, but the Lord of Pain really sticks out as a really cool take on that design, as a way to make it just an interesting difference. Like it gives a different take that I really appreciate. So next, we're going to talk about some of our favorite cards in this set. So these are I think these are some of the more targeted. I feel like we had some generic ones in the last one as far as like stuff that fit more types of decks, things like that. Want to talk about some of these cards. Now I'm going to throw it over to Sed first, and then we'll kind of go in the same order, Sed, me, and then over to Ken for our picks of these new commander cards for this deck.
Yeah, I do see a handful of newer cards, but I do see a lot of very good reprints in here, and I'm actually going to have to skip over the newer cards and shout out a couple of maybe one or two of the reprints. I'll let you guys handle the new cards. But firstly, I just want to say this is our first new art for Kyrvek the Merciless. He's in the deck, so shout out to them. New art since I believe like 1993. So shout out to Kyrvek, you made it. So yeah, I like just a lot of the older cards they threw in here, because braids, the new black braids that makes everyone sacrifice something or they take damage. You got the Morbid Opportunist. Whenever one or more other creatures die, draw a card. Ability triggers only once each turn. So it's just a lot of good cards that are in here that I'm glad to see return, and I'm pretty sure this is going to be the deck that I purchase. All right, you guys can take it from there.
Very strong Sed vibes. I definitely see that one. All right, so the card that sticks out to me is going to be called Suspended Sentence. So Suspended Sentence is 3 and a black for an instant. Destroy target creature an opponent controls. That player loses 3 life. Exile Suspended Sentence with 3 time counters on it. And it's suspend 3 for 1 and a black. The reason that this one sticks out, obviously 4 mana for a removal spell for only creatures is incredibly inefficient. But the thing I like about this is the fact that it's suspend 3 for 2. And it keeps coming back because it keeps getting with time counters. I see this as a great answer to all of these annoying ward commanders if you have some in your play group that are nonstop. Because of the fact that, one, if you suspend it on turn 2, when it does go off a few turns later, you can just pay ward. You're not actually paying for the mana cost anymore. And then it's going to keep like basically rebounding effectively and just keep going. So it can be a consistent answer for that obnoxious commander that won't go away. So even if you're playing against a Simic value engine deck that you can never get rid of the commander because every turn it keeps getting ramped out, you kind of have a consistent answer. And I also like the fact of, like, one of the things with running a lot of removal spells is sometimes they just get stuck in your hand. I love the ability on turn 2 just to suspend it, get it out of your hand. In a few turns, you know whatever the biggest threat is, you can take care of it. It's very telegraphed, like you're going to see exactly what's happening. Your opponents are going to know all that type of stuff. But I do appreciate the fact that there's a way to, in my mind, start removing things and not have to be spending a whole turn because of ward. So I like that one. Ken, what about you?
I like Enchanter's Bane because it tells people with enchantment just go fornicate themselves with a stick. Specifically, Enchanter's Bane says at the beginning of your end step, target enchantment deals damage equal to his mana value to his controller unless that player sacrifices it. So it's GF and stay F'd on a stick. That's why I like it. I also like Seance Board because not in my house.
Not in my house.
Yes. Seance Board was a close second for me. It's limited the stuff you can spend mana on, but if you're in a Spellslinger deck that's making any sort of tokens, really, you can do some dirty things.
Yeah, and just let everyone know, Enchanter's Bane is a reprint, so that's one of those other good cards that you should pick up.
So yeah, clearly the Rakdos deck, there's some cool new cards, but the reprints are apparently where it's at. They got some good ones in there. All right, so the last deck is going to be the Golgari deck, and it's Golgari. Obviously, it's graveyards. You thought we were going to trick you. We didn't. The deck. It's headed by Winter, Cynical Opportunist, and the backup is Rendmaw. So we'll start with Winter, Cynical Opportunist for it's Golgari. It's going to be a graveyard deck. You thought we would trick you, but we didn't. The headliner here. 2 black and a green for a 2/5 human warlock with Death Touch. Whenever Winter attacks, mill 3 cards, and then it has Delirium. Beginning of your end step, you may exile any number of cards from your graveyard with 4 or more card types among them. If you do, put a permanent card from among them onto the battlefield with a finality counter. So this is doing some like Baba Lysaga stuff where you know, with Delirium as well. You need a bunch of card types in your graveyard. You can exile them and pick one of the biggest, scariest ones to bring back. So you're going to be interested in artifact creatures, enchantment creatures, all those different types of things, kindred spells, enchantments, all those things, so that you can mill yourself and then cheat big things into play. The backup commander is Rendmaw Creaking Nest, which is 3 black and a green for a 5/5 Scarecrow. Has Menache and Reach, and when Rendmaw Creaking Nest enters, and whenever you play a card with 2 or more card types, each player creates a tap 2/2 black bird creature token with flying. These tokens are goated for the rest of the game.
For the rest of the damn game.
The whole game. This... I see some parallels, but I'm going to throw it over to you first, Ed, to see what you're feeling out of these two.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to give it up to the Scarecrow because this is what I said in I think our first review of Duskmourn. They gave us another Scarecrow at first that drops insects, and I was like, what is the Scarecrow doing? It's not even dropping birds. Now we got a Scarecrow that actually does something with birds. So I gotta give it up to Rendmaw, and the fact that the birds are goated. At first I was a little worried that everybody was making one, but I do like that at least they're goated for the game. So sure, everybody can take some birds. You just better have a way to deal with those birds by the time it gets back to that 1v1. And black and green, you should be able to handle tokens or flyers or 2/2s. So you should be able to cover those birds by then. So I'll give it up to Rendmaw, but I'm not thoroughly in love with it. Winter, I think, has a little bit more. Dang, I actually might be feeling Winter a little bit more just because it allows you to mill. I'm on the mill value plan. I can't help it. Dang, I might actually have to give this to Winter.
Okay, we'll let you. We'll give it to Winter in that case for you.
I'll give it to Winter, even though I like that the Scarecrow is dropping birds and it's a 5/5.
It is. Ken, where are you leaning?
To quote the great, yeah.
Yeah. Lil Jon?
Usher, were you quoting Usher and Lil Jon? Yeah, I was about to say, was that an Usher quote? Just very slowly.
To quote the great Leonidas, winter is here. So I'm going with winter because you can get real nasty with this card. I mean, I do like the fact that they did print another Scarecrow, but to me, honestly, Scarecrows are just something for you to pee and poop on, especially for birds. They just stand there and just get defecated on all day. But anyway, that's a whole nother sentence in itself. But yeah, I like this because it's like you mill, you bring stuff back. They ain't going nowhere. They bad boys. Wait, hold up.
I'm
gonna take it over from here.
Okay.
What?
Nothing. Oh. Yeah, but with the Scarecrow is like,
I think what Ken's trying to say
Smith,
is that
right?
this card really slaps. All right, cool.
Yeah, it slaps.
Yeah.
It slaps.
So I'll take it from here.
And when it comes
when
it comes to the Scarecrow, I like that you're forcing the birds on people. So it's like, take that. Go ahead.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with so winter for me is just more Golgari Reanimator graveyard things. Like there's nothing super interesting or new. I do think it's cool. I love Rendmaw because it's just something very different. One, we don't really have many good Scarecrows at all, and even like the Reaper King, the OG, makes.
We have two Scarecrows.
No, we have a lot of.
So yes, we have we
have a lot of Scarecrow cards, but not that many Scarecrow commanders.
Yeah, and it's also like I don't even need like a whole Scarecrow themed deck. I just love having a legendary Scarecrow. It's cool. It enters. It makes these birds with flying very on theme. But I also love the fact that it progresses the game. You're going to give everybody these tokens. Ideally, every spell you cast is going to be 2 or more card types. So you can have so many. It lets you build it in a million different directions. All this commander says is build with a lot of artifact creatures, a lot of enchantment creatures, build with a lot of land artifact, whatever it is, whatever you can build a million different themes, take it whatever direction you want, and then just so happen to, while you play your deck, make all these flyers that you can hand out so everyone can swing at each other. They can't hit you, and it progresses the game. I think this is a really fun card, and it's also going to speed games up because you can do whatever kind of janky strategy you want and still progress the game and allow your opponents to do the dirty work for you. So I'm very excited about Renma, actually. I think it's a really, really cool design. Now, moving on to the favorite card, if obviously, honestly, we can go at reprints too. So if a reprint really sticks out, that's super cool. Or if there is a new card that you want to talk about. So, Sed, I'll throw it over to you for this one.
Not really. The reprints aren't bad, but I'm not loving this deck too much, only because it wants us to think about the card types we're throwing into our graveyard. So I think this deck would need a massive.
It's not the most fun to track. I will say that.
That's
as a Baba Saga player.
Oh my god. I would dread playing this deck. As far as new cards go, I think one that really stands out to me is probably gonna have to be where did it go? It's not that great, but I see a deck where I can use this myself. But again, it's something I would have to track, and it's kind of just incidental. But Deluge of Doom, for 2 and a black, all creatures get -X until end of turn, where X is the number of card types among cards in your graveyard. So you can kind of, depending on when you draw this, you can kind of do a tempo board wipe, or at least get rid of small threats, depending on when and where you play this card. So it's kind of a timing thing, but I play black a lot. I even have a mono black deck where this works, and it'll probably kill most of you guys' creatures, but not mine. So it's just something you have to plan out ahead of time, but that's what this deck wants you to do anyway. So if you have other decks that do the same thing, this deck might be for you.
Okay. All right. My pick is going to be, this is one that I got excited for when I first saw. I don't even know if I have a deck for it, but I do like the theme that I've seen with these, and it's Demolisher Spawn. And Demolisher Spawn is 5 green for a 7/7 horror. It's got Trample and Haste and Delirium. Whenever Demolisher Spawn attacks, if there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard, other attacking creatures get +4/+4 until end of turn. I kind of put this in, there's a whole category of this where they basically make a bunch of Crater Hoofs at home that are like nowhere near as good as a Crater Hoof, but they're very specific. So like Blossoming Bog Beast is an example of one that buffs your creature and gives trample for how much life you've gained. And there's like a whole set of these like very big creatures that act as weird versions of Crater Hoofs, but for specific decks. And I do love that if you're playing some graveyard deck with a bunch of mill in that, and you make tokens and stuff, if you play a Crater Hoof, you've killed people with that 1,000,000 times. This is like an on-theme version, strictly worse, obviously, but it's like an on-theme version that you can play in your graveyard deck that fits the vibe a whole lot better. And I'm always looking for stuff like that. Like, I'm one who, I don't want to play Smothering Tithe and Rhystic Study and all the like staples. I want to find stuff that fits the vibe of the deck better, and this just it does that, and it's also still relatively effective because you can get it every turn when it attacks. It's not just a one-time thing. All right, Ken, what do you got?
I'm gonna have to say that most of these cards suck, but I really don't have a dog in this fight. They kind of trash.
Very astute analysis on that.
So I will say a couple that did just jump out to me. A lot of people talked about Into the Pit. It was one of the earlier previews. You can look at the top card, 2 and a black enchantment. You can look at the top card of your library anytime. You may cast spells from the top of your library by sacrificing non-land permanents in addition to paying their other costs. So it's like replacing cards with other cards.
That's powerful.
So that's crazy. One could be kind of strong, but also Demonic Covenant. This one just jumped out to me. A Kindred enchantment.
Yes.
A Kindred demon enchantment. All right. I missed this one, sorry. For 4 and 2 black, whenever one or more demons you control attack a player, you draw a card, lose a life. Beginning of your end step, create a 5/5 black demon creature token with flying. Then mill 2 cards. If 2 cards share all their card types If two cards that share all their card types were milled this way, sacrifice this enchantment. So I'm pretty sure that unless you milled like 2 lands or 2 creatures back to back, this can stick around for a minute. You should be able to get some 5/5s.
It's just, it feels like they finally made a 2024 version of Sandworm Convergence. If anybody remembers that like terrible card, that shitty ass card from Amonkhet. I remember I thought that was the most busted, overpowered card in the world, and you got a 5/5 worm every turn, and I was like, how is this allowed? I think they finally made a 2024 version of this where you get a 5/5 demon and get to draw cards.
Well, this just reminds me that today is Cheeseburger Day. And if you want, you can get a special discount on McDonald's cheeseburgers. With that being said, it's still disgusting because I don't want to touch none of this.
Okay, so on that note, let's move. We are almost like we're at a kind of a late point in today's episode, but I still want to talk. We've already teased it. Let's not do a top 5. We're not going to get deep into analysis. I want us all to just quickly go through our top 3 cards from this set in Commander that we think we're going to see the most. So our favorite 3 Commander cards. We can go quick to the point. Inevitably, we'll go on a 4-hour rant about these, but we're going to try to be efficient with these and kind of just go through our top 3 cards that we think we're going to see the most or that we're most excited about in Commander. So I could kick it off if y'all need a second to gather yourselves, or if you're ready, I'll throw it over to you.
Yeah, I got you. So
okay, let's go.
Cards that I'm thinking we're definitely going to see in Commander. This set has given us a lot of black cards. So I'm gonna probably lean more towards those colors. Withering Torment, 2 in a black instant. Destroy target creature or enchantment, you lose 2 life. People are saying that this is giving black access to things that it shouldn't be doing. I personally do not align with that thinking. I think that black should be able to destroy pretty much anything. You, your pet, your artifacts, your enchantments. Hell, I think black should be able to destroy your instant as you're casting it. So don't let me don't let me get access to the color pie, because I can go on a rant for that forever. But I think that black should be able to destroy enchantments, especially at the cost of things like losing life. I think losing 2 life is appropriate for this cost. I would even take it up to 3. I don't even care. 3 for 3. I'm cool. I'm cool with that. Next, I want to talk about things that people should probably be playing. Another black enchantment we have here is Nowhere to Run for 1 in the black. Has flash. Whenever it enters the battlefield, target creature and opponent controls gets -3/-3. Sometimes that'll be applicable. Otherwise, the most important part of it is creatures your opponents control can be the target of spells and abilities as though they didn't have hexproof, and ward abilities do not trigger. This is a black card that gets rid of ward. What do you guys say about that?
More. I want there to. I want. You know what? I want ward to be errated, to just say, forget this. Fuck you, and that's just it. It's just like what it says as the text on there now. I hope it never comes back. I'm tired. So yeah.
You're good. A bunch of haters. All
right, very very last one. I'm gonna pass it over to you guys. This one it probably won't get played a lot, but it definitely should be. Is Grievous Wound, a black enchantment. You enchant a player for 3 and 2 black. Enchanted player cannot gain life. Whenever enchanted player is dealt damage, they lose half their life rounded up. I will repeat. Whenever enchanted player is dealt damage, they lose half their life. And the picture is just a dude.
Said, how many times are you trying to enchant Ken with this?
off rip. You better hope I don't miracle this card. Turn 2, miracle. Oh, Ken, guess what? You got a wound coming at you, and this dude is bent over like. And look at that art, or lady.
Clearly, clearly they ate at a Taco Bell or Arby's. That's why I will say this. You can. This would cripple any deck that I have except for my Carl deck. Honestly, I don't even feel this in my Carl deck.
That's perfectly fine.
All right, so let's throw it to Ken. Yeah, let's get your top 3 real quick as we go through. What are your 3 cards you're most excited about for Commander?
Well, Grievous Wound was kind of one of mine, but that's okay. I got backups. So Leyline of Hope, because this is going in Carl. Whenever you gain life, you gain that much life plus 1. But as long as you're at least 7 more than your total, it's an anthem effect where creatures you control get +2/+2. You're about to feel it. You're about to feel it, sunshine. Coming to the stage, number 2, Kona Rescue Bestie? What? Okay, whatever. Kona. At the beginning, it's a legendary beast survivor, but a survivor is a type now. Okay, Destiny Child. At the beginning of your second main phase, if Kona Rescue Beast is tapped, you may put a permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield. Oh, baby. This is going to Intech, and it's going to Intech quickly. Everything. Everything. Yes. Even yes, everything. And I don't want to tell you because I'm instantly going to be a target, especially with the new stuff I'm about to put in my deck. And last but not least, this card sucks. As a matter of fact, it is one of the most terrible cards out there, but I put it in the deck for the name alone. It's called Get Out. I just was specifically wanted for the name. It counters, you choose one counter target creature or enchantment spell, or return 1 or 2 target creatures and or enchantments to you onto your hand. Don't care about that. My only thing is I wish there was a teacup in this art.
I got you there. All right, so for my top 3, this is the shocking list for me. I have 2 white cards in my top 3, which is absurd for the 3 cards I'm most excited for in Commander. At number 3, we're going to go with Overlord of the Mist Moors. This is just Grave Titan in white that makes bugs. Y'all already heard me talk about it before. I love Grave Titan. I put it in like every deck I can, and now if I'm not feeling well one day and I decide to build a white deck and make poor life decisions, now I have one. I have a Grave Titan in white that I can build. Love it. It's amazing. At number 2, we're going to talk about some veggies, some of like the basic stuff, but I still think this is an insane card in Commander. It's Unwanted Remake. Unwanted Remake is a 1-mana white instant, destroy target creature. Its controller manifests dread. This is very much on the lines of like a Worse Swords to Plowshare, Path to Exile, but depending on what you want to give your opponents, whether they gain life or if they were going to get a land into play, sometimes giving them a 2/2, you might just prefer that. Also, if you happen to open some of these packs, it's probably going to be dirt cheap compared to spending a few dollars on a Swords or a Path. So I think this is just one that you can just slot in. 1-mana removal. I feel like we're going to be seeing a decent amount of this, especially if you're playing against non-creature heavy decks and you get rid of one of their important creatures. They're not even going to be able to flip something over. They're going to be stuck with a useless 2/2. And the number one Commander card that I think is going to be super busted in the right decks, and I'm both dreading and excited to play, is Head Shredder. We talked about this before, but this card just seems busted. It's 2 green for a 5/5 vehicle. Whenever it attacks, you can mill 2, but more importantly, whenever 1 or more land cards are put into your graveyard from your library, put them onto the battlefield. This is, if you are in any graveyard deck, this card is basically remove on site, or you just are going to win. Because if you have a few turns of milling, you're going to end up so far ahead. This card seems absurd. It's in a vehicle and it's an artifact creature combo, so probably easy to remove. But I think we're going to be seeing a lot of this in any sort of graveyard decks.
Do you?
All right, so those are our kind of like.
Just real quick, do you feel like this could be an anti-mill strategy also? Like some people used to throw cards like whenever this card enters the graveyard, you can shuffle your library back into your graveyard back into your library. Kind of like the Eldrazi does it. There's a I think a sorcery spell that does it as well. But do you see this as like an anti-mill thing? Like, I bet you won't mill me. I bet you won't mill me. I don't know. I could be just thinking.
You know magical. What? That's a great point. I love milling myself so much. I didn't even think of that portion of it. But you are 100% right, because if you mill someone with this card out, you are living way too dangerously. Because you think about like rate of cards. Like, if you mill 5 cards and hit 2 lands, that's already like 2 lands for 4 mana is not bad. And the fact that when this thing attacks, you're already you do not want to mill somebody with a Head Shredder out, because not only are they going to get lands, but they can potentially get any land. So yeah, I'm with you. I think that's incredibly dangerous. So yeah, I guess it's the double whammy. You can mill yourself, and it's going to stop people from milling you. So
I don't fear that.
I think it's really cool.
I play enough graveyard hate where I don't fear that.
I get you, but the thing is, the thing I like about this is it's not like, so a lot of the mass land things, like you look at like Splendid Wreck and all that, the lands sit in the graveyard for a while and then you bring them all back. So you give a lot of interaction chances. The lands just go into play right after. So unless at the moment you're being milled, someone has graveyard exile, you get them. And even if they exile your graveyard, then at that point on, every time you mill, this is a really good way to fight. And as you know, y'all see my graveyard decks get shut down all the time. Like Sidisi consistently gets completely shut down by y'all because you can just remove graveyard. It can't do anything.
By who?
Don't make me say her name. Muldrotha, that asshole, and Ashiok, her right hand faceless monster. All those assholes. Oko's in that deck. It doesn't exile the graveyard, but I hate you too, Oko.
Oko, look,
yeah, so,
hold on. First of all, Oko is one of the most fair planeswalkers ever printed. It doesn't even kill your commander. It leaves it alone.
All right.
Do you know how many?
We gotta close this out. We can't go on.
We're gonna close this out before
Oko.
Ken.
Can't go on the Oko soapbox.
Before Ken gives the worst take of all time.
The game.
All right, so yeah, well let's close this out. This is kind of our closing thoughts on Duskmourn. I think we've done more Duskmourn videos than any set for the rest of the year combined. Which is so I guess that's a good sign of what we think. But Sed, you want to give us some closing thoughts?
Yeah. Really good set so far from what we've seen. I think everything's out now. Commander decks seem pretty fun. You got a lot to choose from within those. Good reprints, good new cards. The set itself seems pretty scary, so some powerful stuff we're going to see probably in those lesser formats as well as Commander, probably even CEDH coming to a table near you. So please like and subscribe, share our content with a friend. Let us know what are some of your favorite picks that you're excited about, or let us know what you think should be played more in Commander coming from this set that you think is going to see some play. And as you saw in our promos, just be sure to check us out as well by supporting us with to TCG Player, Into the AM, and also Heavy Play, great companies that we're partnered and affiliated with. So show us some love by checking out their links in the description below. But we're going to get out of here because this has been a very long preview season. Very short, but also very long and scary. Spooky season is upon us. We will be in MagicCon Vegas doing shenanigans. So definitely check us out there. We will be in the creator area, so come and play some games. We will have a table with your name on it. And you'll see how those games go. You'll see if you play with Ken, you'll know how those games go. But be sure to like and subscribe. Again, share our content with some friends. Tell a friend and tell an enemy to subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one. But peace.